What if I told you the history you were fed in school isn't just wrong? It is a malicious, carefully constructed lie designed to keep you blind to your own destruction. We are not living through a random series of unfortunate events. The economic collapse, the cultural warfare, the pandemics, the endless wars, they are right on schedule. Look at this chart, burn it into your memory. In exactly 12 minutes, you will understand why the people running this world are using this exact blueprint to strip you of everything you own. We are told by the corporate media and the technocratic elite that the chaos surrounding us is just bad luck. They blame supply chains. They blame foreign dictators. They blame you for not conserving enough energy or paying enough taxes. That is the official narrative, but the facade is cracking. In 1997, two historians, William Strauss and Neil Howe, published a book called The Fourth Turning. They didn't just guess the future, they decoded the historical matrix. Every 80 years, society goes through 4 seasons. Spring, a time of institutional high. Summer, a spiritual awakening. Autumn, the unraveling of culture. And winter, the fourth turning. This is where their facade cracks. The math is undeniable. 1781, the climax of the American Revolution. 1861, the outbreak of the American Civil War, exactly 80 years later. 1941, Pearl Harbor and the entry into World War II, exactly 80 years later. Add 80 years to 1941, and where does that put us? Right at the start of the 2020s. We are in the winter, the crisis. But here's the part they don't want you to know. The elites, the central bankers, the shadow network, they read this book too. They know winter is here. They aren't trying to prevent the collapse. The true term for this operation is controlled demolition. They are intentionally triggering the destruction of the Western middle class so they can be the architects of the rebuild. Think about it. Why did the World Economic Forum suddenly start pushing the Great Reset in 2020? Why did Klaus Schwab explicitly state this was a narrow window of opportunity? Because they are hijacking the fourth turning. They are using the natural cyclical collapse of our society as a smokescreen to implement total totalitarian control. But that's just the surface. What I'm about to show you ties this entire 80-year cycle directly to the 2008 financial crash. Hit the like button right now if you think the news lies to you. The deep dive. To understand the weaponization of the fourth turning, you have to look at the money. It always comes back to the money. The entity responsible for this, let's call them the silent hand, knew that the fiat currency system was on a collision course with the 80-year cycle. Since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, the US dollar has lost over 96% of its purchasing power. This isn't an accident. Inflation is the secret tax of the fourth turning. Here's the interlocking evidence of their control grid. Evidence piece 1, the 2008 pre-shock. In the autumn of the cycle, the unraveling, they tested the waters. The housing market collapsed. What was the solution? Quantitative easing. They printed trillions of dollars, bailing out the megabanks while millions of Americans lost their homes. This was the greatest transfer of wealth in human history up to that point. It conditioned the public to accept government intervention in private markets. Evidence piece 2, the September 2019 repo crisis. Months before the 2020 pandemic dominated the headlines, the overnight banking system froze. The Federal Reserve quietly injected hundreds of billions of dollars to keep the system from imploding. The system was already dying. 2020 didn't cause the economic collapse. It provided the perfect alibi. Evidence piece 3, the weaponization of real estate. Look at who is buying up single-family homes right now. Megacorporations like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. By 2030, institutional investors could control 40% of the single-family rental homes in the US. Why? What is the silent hand's true goal? It is depopulation of wealth. It is the elimination of private property. Remember the infamous WEF slogan, "You will own nothing, and you will be happy." That wasn't a prediction, that was a business plan. Look at the methodology of the elite. They did it with 9/11, manufactured fear to implement the surveillance state via the Patriot Act. They did it with 2008, manufactured financial panic to implement the corporate bailout state. And now, they're doing it with 2020 to present manufactured biological and ecological fear to implement the control state. The thread tying them all together is centralized power consolidation. Every time there is a crisis, your freedom goes down and their control goes up. Right now, during the climax of this fourth turning, they are introducing Central Bank Digital Currencies, CBDCs. This is the kill shot. If they can replace cash with programmable digital tokens, they don't need police. If you protest, your money is turned off. If you buy too much meat, your carbon credit score exceeds its limit and your funds are frozen. This is the ultimate objective of the crisis, to transition us from free citizens to digital serfs. They are using the very real, very dangerous turbulence of the historical winter to install a digital panopticon. So how does this fourth turning affect you directly? It affects your freedom. It affects your wallet. It affects your future. The middle class is being systematically eradicated. By engineering hyperinflation, they are making it impossible for you to save. By buying up real estate, they are making it impossible for you to own. By censoring the internet, they are making it impossible for you to speak. If this conspiracy goes unchecked, the future projection is terrifying. By the end of this decade, when the fourth turning historically concludes, we will not be living in a constitutional republic. We will be living in a technocratic neo-feudalism. A handful of billionaires will own the algorithms, the food supply, and the money. The rest of us will be renters in a digital prison. Remember this chart from the beginning? I told you it was a blueprint for your destruction. But look closer. Every fourth turning ends in a rebirth. 1781 birthed the Constitution. 1865 birthed emancipation. 1945 birthed the American superpower. The elites are terrified of this chart for one reason. They cannot stop the rebirth. They can only try to control it. The natural order of the fourth turning is that the people rise up. The WEF, the central banks, the media complex, they know their time is up. They are desperately trying to build a cage around us before we realize we have the power to tear their system down. Final thesis. The fourth turning is not a prophecy of our doom. It is the scheduled collapse of their control system, and the Great Reset is their desperate, final attempt to keep us enslaved. You were born for this exact moment. Do not let them steal the future. Do not comply with their digital currencies. We must build parallel economies and local food sources. Drop a comment below with your insights. Hit that subscribe button to join the resistance. This channel is a threat to the algorithm, and we need your support. Stay awake, stay sovereign. I'll see you in the next one.